Hey guys, welcome back. So today we got a 2017 Elantra. Customer complained about shaking while on the stoplight, and he also mentioned that when he's trying to pass a vehicle on the highway, that it's lack of power, basically. So first we're gonna scan for codes before we go for test drive, because these engines or these vehicle models are very common under um, ignition coil failure. So let's see if we have some misfire codes or history codes. Okay, there are no history there. So usually if it's like this, and if you have an option on your scan tool to go to OBD2 or global OBD, right, not the enhanced side like the manufacturer side, you go there and see if there's a codes there too. So we just check here. It says here all of the side here are call completed, so nobody cleared the code, right? Let's go to diagnostic trouble code. So there's nothing there. Let's go. There's no pending. Okay, there's no pending. So next is if it's like this, I'm gonna go to monitoring test results, and I'm gonna go to our misfire monitor, right, and see if it will pick up there. So it says there general for all four cylinder, says there's 0, but we're gonna go through each of the cylinders and see. So right now on cylinder number 1, it has 2 counts of misfire. Let's go to other cylinders. Number 2 now. Number 2 has 2. Number 3 has 3. And let's say number 4 has more counts. See that? 419. So at least now, the way the customer mentioned the problem that it happens on the stoplight and shaking, looks like that's a misfire, right? And we can see on our monitoring test results on the misfire data on the OBD2 side that at number 4 it has 400 counts of misfire. So at least we have direction now. So we're still not sure that if it's really that the problem, but we're gonna test drive it and see. And then after that, we're gonna go try to our enhanced side of the scan tool, and then we're gonna go here. And then I'm just gonna click some data PIDs here, the engine speed, oxygen sensors, right? Oh. Okay. And then on our enhanced side or the manufacturer side of the scan data, Hyundai has this misfire counter, so we're gonna use that. Maybe we can see if it's really misfiring. Number 4, well, all of the 4 cylinders has misfire counts, but the worst was cylinder number 4. So I'm just gonna graph that and see if it will register when we go for a test drive. Okay, so we're just test driving right now. I'm just gonna go around the block and see if we can feel this misfire, and let's see if it will register in our scan tool. And also I didn't hear any abnormal noise on this car, because of course these Elantras, they're common on this engine knock. So if there's an engine noise or knocking and you have a misfire, fix first the noise, right? Because that can contribute on our misfire. So far I don't feel any misfire there. Car or the vehicle accelerate good. Okay, so far our data here is all just showing 0. So we're just gonna go back to the shop and let's try to do some visual inspection under the hood, and maybe we can try to hook up our scope and check our ignition coil current drop and see if we can find something in there, definite diagnosis that it's coming from ignition coil. And we'll see, because this vehicle too has 100,000 kilometers. Let me double check. What is it? So it shows there 105,974 kilometers. So of course that's due to for spark plug replacement. So we're gonna check all those stuff, the ignition coil, spark plugs, and let's see if we can find something. Alright guys, so when I was on my way back to the shop, in the scan tool, because I did a recording so that I can at least see it, I found that number 3 and number 4 was misfiring on that time, but I didn't feel the misfire when it happened. So I'm gonna show you here. See that count there? I think that's 20. Oh, yeah. So cylinder number 3 and 4 as a count 1 on our total counter, and the other side of the misfire counter 2, it shows 20, cylinder number 3 and number 4. So at least now we have a clue that, and then we can see here that during that misfire 20, on my oxygen sensors, they're reading normal reading 1.9, 0.8, because if let's say that's reading too rich, right, maybe we'll think about it's an open injector during that time. Or if it's reading lean, right, so let's say my rear oxygen sensor is showing right now 0.8. If it's reading maybe 0.1 and we get a counter here for 20 misfires on 3 and 4, maybe we got problem with our injector too, right? So far this leads to me that it's not fuel related misfire. Looks to me it's like spark plug or ignition coil problem. So I'm gonna set up my scope and see if maybe we can see it in the scope on our ignition current waveform, if it's really number 3 and number 4 is misfiring that time. Okay, here's my setup. For the power wire for all 4 cylinders for ignition coil, I use this one. You can use the fuse, but you have to put an adapter there, a loop, so that you can use your amp clamp. And for our blue channel, that's gonna be our cylinder number 4, and the red channel will be on cylinder number 1. So we're gonna try to compare both and see if we can find anything, and let's just hope that it will show up on our scope, and that's it. Okay, so our scope is running. My scan tool is still hooked up here. I'll just reset this. So just see if we can duplicate that misfire. So far there's no misfire. I don't feel any misfire right now. So far there's no misfire. I'll put that in park again. Let me try to do more rev. Okay, I don't see anything, so let's just go back to our scope and see if we can find something in there. So right now, what we have is, this is our ignition coil ramp. Our red is number 1, so the firing order is 1342. So this is our ignition coil number 1, number 3, number 4, and this is our number 2. So far on our ignition ramp, they look the same, right? So we cannot, because we didn't feel any misfire too, and their current, at least it's 12 amps. So in every 100 millivolts, that's 1 amp. Yeah, so we have 1.2 there. I think that's 12 amps if I'm not mistaken. I'm just gonna scroll and see if we can find a different, because right now we're just checking if there's a different on the current ramp, because that will show us there's something wrong on the ignition coil side. And of course, when we did our testing on this time here, I didn't feel any misfire, so I'm not sure if it will show in here the misfire or the problem coil, but at least we have what do you call that, we have a clue that on cylinder number 3 and number 4, that was our misfiring cylinders. So right now we're just scrolling through each of the capture and see if we can find something that can tell us that there's something wrong on that ignition coil. So they look pretty even. Let me just right now, that's our number 4, our problem cylinder. It looks like they're almost all the same. So I'm gonna go through each of one of these and see, and if I cannot find anything, we're gonna go to our spark plug and see, and let's inspect those. Okay, so we're just gonna remove all our, inspect our spark plug. I know it didn't show on our scope capture the faulty injector, or faulty ignition coil, but I believe we have our ignition coil problem. But let's just inspect, since this car has 100,000 kilometers already, so we'll check our spark plug too. Let's check our ignition coil. Okay. Okay. Nothing in there. Okay, so I'm gonna remove all our spark plugs. Here's our number 4. I don't see any abnormal fouling or wear. It's all normal wear due mileage on time, right? Okay. Same thing on this one. Same thing on this one here. So what we can do too is we're gonna try to check the gap of this spark plug and see. Let me just check what's the spec on that, and let's compare. Okay, so the spec is around 0.8 to 0.9 mm. I have my feeler gauge here. This is 0.8 right now, so we're just gonna try to see if this is okay. That's too much gap in there with a 0.8. This one is just a little bit there. So this one almost exact. That's our number 3, and our number 4 will be okay. That's too wide there, so I'm gonna put it in 0.9. Let's see. Okay, I have 0.9 right now. It's 0.9. Let's do the same thing. Number 1. Okay. 0.9 is okay. Alright. Same thing on our number 2. Number 3. Number 4. It's a little bit out, right? I can slide this in, no problem, right? And compared to our other spark plugs, was tight at 0.9. So I'm gonna recommend on this vehicle the 4 new spark plug, and also I'm gonna do ignition coil since this vehicle is pretty common on those. But I'm just gonna replace the number 3 and number 4 since that was the worst misfire when we were driving. And other than that, so far I don't see any oil here on our spark plug tip, right? There's no cracks, because sometimes there's a cracks in the porcelain itself, right? So I don't see that. Yeah, so let's see if they will approve this, because this is I think this is customer pay. 4 new spark plug and 2 ignition coil. If you want to see that failing ignition coil when we're using a scope, I'm gonna put in the description the link. I think I did one also that's for, I think, the same Elantra, not the same vehicle but Elantra model. On that video that we found that there was a problem with the ignition coil, because we can see clearly on our scope capture that that ramp is missing. So let's wait and see if we get a go ahead with this one, and we'll continue. Alright guys, so car came back for the parts. So before, our Misfire was under 3 and 4. So we're gonna be replacing that, and also I called the spark plug because it's already 100,000 kilometers, right? And usually that's how we recommend, and we also verify that to our spark plug gap, right? So all 10 mm there for our ignition coils. So 3 and 4 will be replacing that. 1 and 2 we're keeping it, and then we'll replace all our spark plug. There's a number 1, number 2, 3, and 4. Our brand new spark plug. That's our part number there. Even though our spark plug comes in on the new box, just double check the gaps on it, right? Compare it to our, I think, cylinder number 1. I think that's more or less the on spec still. So everything you check is good, and we can put this back. Last one. Okay. Then we're just gonna snag it. Then we're gonna torque it to 18 foot-pound or 18.5. Last one. Okay. We'll just put our 1 and 2 ignition coil. And for our number 3 and 4, here's our...
So can I just drop the tires off here?
No, not there. What tire is that? For parts?
The parts.
Yeah, you have to talk to the parts.
Not here.
No, they should be there. No one is there? Okay, maybe in the tire machine area? Yeah. So here's our ignition coil part number, right? Just in case you need to replace it on your own. I think this is an improved part number because here's our old one, the design, and there's our new one. Okay. So that's it, guys. Was a quick one. Well, the replacement is just pretty straightforward, and we really didn't duplicate that excessive shaking on the stoplight, but we found out on our data that our number 3 and 4 was misfiring during that time, and we inspect our spark plug gap. That's why we recommend it, and it's due on time to 100,000 kilometers. So that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you for watching.